All right, welcome to the episode of Real Estate vs. Technology. I'm your host, Norman Kinsey. We have our co-host, Mr. Dan Gandy. Welcome, Dan.
Thanks for having me.
I just want to say really quick, we're very lucky for this episode because Dan's still with us. He had a house fire, so thank God everything's okay on his side. Just wanted to kind of put that out there for our viewers and listeners.
Podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And before we do intro who our amazing guest is today, someone that we wanted to have on the show for quite a while, we want to encourage everyone to like the episode, subscribe, and comment below with what you learned by the end of the episode. So today we're going to go to Houston. We're going to go to Texas. So if you're thinking about moving to Texas, you got to hit this individual up. She's a powerhouse. She's crushing it. I have her Instagram right now, and she has a powerhouse team. She does a lot of stuff with actually Tom Ferry. So super jealous there because I haven't actually met Tom Ferry just yet. So we actually have the one, the only. Katieday on Real Estate vs. Technology. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. What's going on?
Of course. So before we went on air, I looked you up, and you have like a musician or something that's like has the same name.
Yeah, I do. So it's sometimes hard to find bio info, but if you like put my name in quotes and then put realtor, then all the real estate stuff comes up, but it sometimes messes with the SEO. So yeah.
I did that. So viewers and listeners out there, also I saw Ryan Serhant just Google searched himself. He did a video on that. So make sure to Google search yourself. You never know what you're going to find. You could have like a musician, artist, who knows. But Katie, let's talk about your beginning. So like how long you been in the business, why real estate, and why Houston?
Yeah. So when I graduated from college, I got into property management. So I went to the University of Tampa, got into property management, did that for a while, and kind of got into real estate sort of, right? So people were, looking to rent places. We would help them out with that. Did that for a while, ended up moving out to Houston, Texas in 2011 for a job in property management. So did that for a while, eventually got into single family property management, and then got my real estate license. So it wasn't a very surprising progression, And so I got into real estate full-time in 2017. We started the team at the end of 2018 and have just been growing it since then.
That's awesome. How many on the team now?
So we've got 10 total agents, including my husband and myself. And then we have 3 admin.
Okay. So wait, was your husband there already in real estate, or did you say, hey, let's do real estate together? How did that work out?
So he was not in real estate. He was in sales, and he basically like June of 2017 left his job to go into real estate full time. So we kind of did our own thing separately for, that basically year-ish and change. And then towards the end of 2018, we hired our first agent.
Wow. That is awesome. And what's the goal? What's like, you want to be like a mega team? Is there certain, like transactions, members on the team? Like what's,
Yeah. So I don't think that the mega team is something that I'm interested in having, but then, the more that we want to do and, families we want to serve and stuff like that, it just seems to continue to grow. We were a team of 4 for a very long time. And then over the past probably 12-ish, or not even 12 months, 8 months or so, we've really increased the size of the team and are continuing to do so. So,
wow.
I think that's one of those like never say never things, right?
Yeah.
But if you would have asked me that, when we started the team, that was never the goal or the aspiration.
Wow.
This year we want to help 400 families buy or sell here in Houston. So we will need to continue to scale the team some, and we'll just, continue to grow as we're able, and able to maintain culture and stuff like that.
That's super, super cool. I love how you say serving families. It's not like, oh yeah, number 1 in the country or like anything like that, like so cliche. And I have to say, from the last pass, and I've only known you for a little less than 12 months, met you in San Diego from one of our past guests that's been on the show, Mr. Connor. So Connor, shout out to Connor out there if you're watching this week's episode. And I've seen you just blow up, Katie. I've seen you on social media, your videos, your content. It's just like, I'm like, whoa, all right. Like I think before I didn't really even know who you were. And then now it's just like, you're everywhere. So kudos to y'all on what you're doing because it's working, which is phenomenal. So what does your team consist of? Are you doing more of like a traditional like buyer specialists, seller specialists? Do they all just kind of like help out no matter buy side, sell side? Like, how does that even mechanics look like?
Yeah, for sure. So we generally, agents will come on to the team in a buyer agent role. Most of the agents on our team have either just gotten out of real estate school and are brand new, or they've probably been a real estate agent for like 6 to 18-ish months, right? And kind of
Nice.
done it on their own for a little while, but want more, mentorship, systems, training, coaching,
Mm,
all of
yeah.
the things that you kind of get from the team construct. So with that, they generally will come in as a buyer's agent. And then once they've done 20 deals with our team, at that point, they can start to train on listings if they want to, and then can do both listings and buyers at that point.
I love that. I love that progression because I know that traditionally a lot of times in the industry, who has their license or is getting to get the license, is like, hey, you start off on the buy side and then you kind of move your way up to the sell side. I like how you have those kind of mechanics, the way that you've kind of orchestrated and put things together. What's the one thing that you would say that kind of differentiates the team? What do you guys do differently there when you're going to a formal listing presentation or you're working with your clients?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know that like real estate isn't rocket science, right? But I think
Yeah.
that we try to do a lot more than most people do. I think one of the things we've been talking about a lot lately, especially on our listings, is that in most markets across the United States, it's a pretty hot sellers market, right? So you can put
Mm-hmm.
a property on the market and it normally goes under contract pretty quickly.
For
So
sure.
not everyone is doing all of the things that they may have done in 2016, 17, 18 as far as marketing and video and mailers and things like that for listings. And we made the decision as we saw the market getting busier and busier that, hey, there's probably other people out there that would like to sell, but they either don't know what's happening or, they don't think they have options or whatever they may think. So we were like, okay, we need to keep doing video. We need to keep, sending mailers and doing
Mm-hmm.
both old school and new school stuff to reach more people that may or may not want to sell, but hopefully we'll sell at a later date. So we kind of go into all of that type of stuff. And then we do a lot of like outreach as far as talking to other agents in the area, buyers that have looked previously in the area, because we have a lot of like repeat area business, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
working in
Mm-hmm.
some of the similar zip codes and stuff like that. So we have a pretty decent buyer pool and old leads for those areas. So we do a lot of that kind of like active marketing, as some of the coaches and stuff deem it. But yeah.
I love that. I love that. And with traditional to like now new age marketing, real estate first tech is kind of what the premises of the episodes are about. It's just like you have the traditional marketing and then the new age marketing. What we're seeing more and more is just kind of like a blend, which is really cool because I feel like that makes a lot of sense. We're also seeing a lot of individuals doing like the mailers that then have like QR codes that tie into like a landing page and retargeting and all that type of stuff. So it's amazing to see that progression. So before we open up to Dan for the MixUp brand, I kind of talk more deep dive on tech. Like this is just kind of off the wall type of question. Just like, what's the best part about doing what you do at your team?
So, good question. I think that one of the best things that I like, as I've kind of, I'm still in production. I sell about 40% of our team's houses right now. So I'm still very
Nice.
much in production, working with, sellers a lot and buyers a little bit. But in, being a team leader and working with agents, I think it's really cool to help them achieve stuff that they didn't think was possible. I mean, you get into real estate, you hear like the 87% fail rate, you hear, how like it's going to take you 6 months to sell a house. There are so many things that you hear of how hard this is, right? And how hard the industry is. And if you don't have the right tools and stuff like that, it really is, right? So I think it's really cool when, we're able to help agents get, something under contract. I'd hope for it to be 30 days, but in their first 30 to 60, maybe 90 days, get things in escrow, and really help them to, make the money that they were hoping to make and achieve what they were hoping to achieve. But maybe didn't realize was possible, if that makes sense.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And that's awesome as well. Cause I know that like, the steam, you only have so much steam and momentum before I can imagine being an agent where you're just like, all right, Katie, it's like 60 days. Like I haven't got anything yet. And you're just like, just keep going. You got this. Like here, make some more calls. Like, I can only imagine. And we deal with on the lift off agent side who sponsors real estate first technology. And it's one of those things where, so I've seen it myself too. As soon as they do get that first commission or what have you, or closing or help that family, it's just like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can do it. It's like, yes.
The high highs.
Yes. It's like I told you. There's
Yeah.
low lows, but just, it's coming. The highs are coming. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm going to switch it up to the mix-up round to Dan Gandy to talk a little bit more about tech behind the team, what you guys are all doing. So go ahead, Dan, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Norman. So I think the first question I like to ask in this progression is like, what's your number one lead source from the tech side that's helping your business grow?
So we are a mainly organic lead source. So as far as our business, it's about 25% agent-to-agent referrals, 25% past clients, sphere of influence, and those either people or referrals from those people, right? So like kind of our sphere and our people. 25% then comes from YouTube and Instagram. And then the remaining quarter is just like random like website leads. We have HAR, which is our association here in Houston. They have a really robust website that actually ranks higher than Zillow throughout Texas. Wow. Which is kind of crazy because that's normally the number one ranked, real estate website in most markets. So, they really put a lot of money into our consumer facing site. So, but what I attribute to that kind of on the tech side is like obviously YouTube and Instagram, right? But like social media plays a big part in agent to agent referrals, as well as past clients and sphere as far as like staying in touch and stuff like that. Which isn't like super tech, but like you use your phone to do it. So I'm calling it tech. I see Dan's apprehension on his face, but we're calling it tech.
I like it.
I like it. No, it's and is there any new technology that you guys are integrating into your processes, into your client touching, that is something you're excited about that's kind of going to help your team get to that next level?
Yeah, I mean, so we have a lot of like systems and things like that that we use, right? So I mean, we use like Follow Up Boss and Sisu as far as kind of keeping everything organized, right? Sisu as far as like kind of tracking, and from kind of a management perspective, right? Like where are the holes? So if like, Dan, you made 500 calls and set 0 appointments, then like clearly something you're saying on the phone isn't working, right? But like if you're setting the appointments and then they don't actually want to go out and tour, then like, okay, let's work on the appointment. So Sisu is really big. Follow Up Boss. I'm trying to think of other tech stuff that we use. I'm like, I have a list of it. Let's see what else. I mean, we use like internally, we use like Airtable and Monday to keep track of like projects and stuff like that. Nice. A lot of the stuff, that we use is a little bit more internal. It's not new, but Folio, if you guys are familiar with that, it's basically like to plug in all the dates for the transaction and push that out, to the buyer or the seller, as well as, to me on my calendar and the team member and stuff like that. Yeah.
No, that's good. Look, another question I have is like, the success, how do you teach the social media and the video to agents coming on your team that maybe are reluctant to get started in that sphere or that medium?
That's basically everyone, right? Norman and I were actually at it was like a video event, and that's all it was about, was like getting on video and just doing it, so it's definitely something that people hate doing, so if someone out there's listening, don't think you're alone in that. But I like to think the things to get yourself on video are doing stories on like Instagram or Facebook, right? Where you're talking direct to camera, or if you have the camera facing out, you're talking about, this restaurant or this bar or this park, or, the house that you're in or whatever it may be, right? So you don't have to have the camera facing you, but just getting comfortable speaking and hearing your voice as you're posting it on Instagram or Facebook or wherever. I think going live is another big one. So whether that's TikTok, Instagram, things like that, Facebook, going live, because you can't edit it. And you just, if you mess up or, you kind of forget what you're saying, you just kind of have to own it and move on. So those are the things that like I started to do. I think too often people go try to like hire a videographer and like spend thousands of dollars to shoot video. And like, if you've never shot video before and you're not comfortable talking direct to camera or talking, slightly off camera or whatever it is, like you're going to be like sweaty and uncomfortable. And, so doing stories and doing stuff where you're talking direct to camera, I think is helpful. And then, also, doing one-to-one like video texts, right? So like Dan, we like talk on the phone or whatever, say you're a prospect, like then I can hop on here and be like, hey Dan, it was so great to meet you, blah, 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 and send that out. So I think those are kind of the baseline, going live, doing stories and one-to-one texts. And then from there, hopefully at that point you're comfortable because it's like just talking to a friend.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Huge.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to turn it back to Norm, and he's got some good questions as well to end this on.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan, for the mix-up round. And just to kind of unpack that, I love that. Like, I love what you said, Katie. Just keep it simple. Like, start with the stories and the lives. That's so true. You have to own it. Because I feel like sometimes, like, even for me, for anyone who's listening, like, it's like where attention goes, energy flows. And so as you start taking your attention to like that, like, oh, I said the so I said the whatever, and then you start thinking about that, then you're like, how many takes does it take before you stop thinking about those things and you just like, or whatever. So the lives, so true. I absolutely love that. I think that's really, really great. And then we've had Follow Up Boss, Dan Corker on the show. They're awesome. Met Sisu at the event that we went to, which is phenomenal. And I'm really curious now, because like it's all over. It's on your shirt. It's on the wall. It's like all over. Houston, move to Texas. Y'all are the people to reach out to. So like, what do you do as like utilizing technology or being an expert, which is an authority in Houston, to be that authority? Like, how are they from like SEO to the website? You said YouTube, like, what does that look like?
We just try to put out more content than everyone else.
I love it.
Kidding, but not kidding. Right. Like, so I think that was, I guess, back in the end of 2019, was when we actually hired a videographer to work on a regular basis to start putting out a massive amount of content. But prior to that, all the things I just said were the things that I was doing, right? I was shooting spotlight type videos on my phone when I would go to, a bar or a restaurant or a park or whatever it may be, a new opening of a new business. I would, shoot stories. I would go live. I went live at every listing because this was back when like 2017 was when I got into real estate, when like Facebook Live was actually a thing, cool. So I would go live at every listing and it would get hundreds of views, right? So these were things that I could then go to a seller and, say, hey, we're doing this. We're also doing a professional video, blah, 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 blah. But so like I was joking, but I think I'm actually going to stick with that as my answer because it ties into all of the things you said as far as like SEO and like websites and like, YouTube. It's like just, putting out content. And, so if you search Move Me to Texas or whatever, there's just going to be a plethora of information that comes up.
I love that.
I had somebody reach out to me like 2 or 3 days ago, a younger investor. And he's like, hey man, I was on social media and then like I Google searched like investing in Eugene, Oregon, and like your YouTube video popped right up. So it works, people. Like you just need to get out there and shoot content.
Yeah.
Amen. Oh, what is it? Grant Cardone, omnipresence. You just gotta be everywhere, and how many posts do you have out throughout the days and yada, yada. So really quick, like, I just want to touch on YouTube really quick. And Dan just alluded to it. So like, give us a success story really quick of like maybe a YouTube video centered around Houston, and a client or a success story or someone that, called or reached out because they saw a video from like YouTube and was just like, oh my God, I got to reach out to Katie and the team and what have you.
Yeah, no, I mean, so we've done a lot of business on YouTube or from YouTube, right? About, I would say it's probably about of the 25% between like YouTube and Instagram, it's probably about 17-ish%, of our business, came from YouTube. But I think, we know that like YouTube's owned by Google, so it's more of a search engine than a social media site, right? So if people start to search, if they're looking to invest, or if they're looking to buy, or if they're looking to move, they're going to do their research far in advance of them actually moving, right?
Yeah.
So what we found is people will watch one video and they'll say, oh, I kind of like what Dan said. I kind of like what Katie said. And maybe they'll subscribe, maybe they won't, but they'll watch some of it, all of it, part of it, whatever. Once they watch some of it, we'll then continue to pop up, in their feeds when they're searching other things about Oregon, Texas, wherever.
Yeah.
And they'll watch lots and lots and lots of videos. And by the time they actually reach out, they've watched so many videos that, they feel as if they know you, right? Like most people aren't watching 10 seconds of one video and being like, hey man, I'm trying to invest, right? Like they've watched many, many videos. So, all of the clients that we meet, they're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe we're meeting. Like we've been watching your videos for months. This is so cool. We're so excited, and it's really funny. And then we also do a lot of like neighborhood spotlight type stuff. So we highlight different, local businesses and business owners throughout Houston. Those. Yeah. So people will be like, oh my goodness, like we are coming to town and we're definitely going to go to that taco place that you just highlighted and we're staying down the road from it. So it's really cool because like the entire reason why we wanted to do the spotlights were to, highlight local business owners and things like that. And like, it's really creating a sense of community with people across, the country and globe. I mean, we're getting people from outside of the States, but like from across the country that, want to move here or considering moving here. So, wow. It's been really cool to like then meet them in person when they come to town to tour and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely been a great source of business, and I wouldn't change it.
I love that. I like to use the analogy for realtors out there and viewers and listeners. Just as like, well, if you are going to buy a home or you're helping your buyers buy a home, and then over the course of the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to have equity in your home. Well, it's the same thing with your brand. You're building brand equity, and then you're building a like and trust factor. You're building that brand equity. And then I feel like it's more of like a free flowing conversation when you have with someone. It's not so forceful or like, oh, let me see your resume. And, spend hours talking about like getting to know each other, which that might come up a little bit, but they've seen your videos. So it's just like a no brainer. So I absolutely love
the door.
Yeah. It's super simple. So I love that. I mean, that pretty much, I think, sums up all my questions. I mean, I love it, Katie, because you're so deliberate and clear, and it's nice to have guests that are just like, this is what I'm doing. This is how it works. And then like, if you just follow the process and keep it simple, you'll have success. I love it. So we're going to now make it so the camera's on you. And what would you like to leave our viewers and listeners from this episode? What's the big takeaway? What's the golden nugget? If anyone could take anything from today's episode.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing that I would say is whatever you're going to do it consistently. So, a lot of people will try one thing, they'll post one video, they'll go door knocking once and, nothing happens and they never do it again. You've got to give things at least 6 months, but, you need to do whatever you're going to do consistently. And it should be video, but you can try to do other things too.
I love it. Katie. We really appreciate your time today. I know you're super busy. I know before we were on air, you're like, yeah, this is my life. Resume. I am on Zoom videos all day. So thank you so much for coming on today's show.
Cool. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Dan, thanks so much for co-hosting as always. Glad everything worked out okay on your end. That can be a podcast in itself.
I'll get some video of it so you guys can take a look.
Yeah, follow Dan. You can find out what's going on with that. Of course, follow Katie. All the links are down below. Check out our YouTube channel. And thanks to all of our viewers and listeners, as it is our intention for you to take things from our episode to apply to your business to have more massive success. Now you can comment below with what you learned, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you for watching Real Estate vs. Technology, this week's brand new episode, and making it to the end, your real one. If you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified for new episodes that come out every single week on Fridays at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time. Also, if you comment on this episode and you like the episode, you'll help this episode get out to more individuals. And if you want to join our Facebook group page, just click a link. It's a Facebook icon on our profile page here on our YouTube channel. Join our group page, network with individuals all across the world, and share what technology you're using to grow your business. The next link is to join our Real Estate vs. Technology brand new IG or Instagram page. If you go on any of our stories, you can see who's going to be on Real Estate vs. Technology before it actually goes live on our YouTube channel. And the last link would be if you want to be on an episode of Real Estate vs. Technology. You pick a date and a time. We'll deep dive into your story and technology you're using to share that with other individuals that view our episodes weekly to inspire, enlighten, show up, and show out for people that love to watch these type of podcasts to have more success in their own business. Thank you so much for your continued support. We appreciate it. We will see you on the next one.